Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls 3 Ashes of Ariandel. I upgraded the follower torch to +10. I don't regret it at all. It's not half bad. Did you hear that? We've returned to the Ariandel chapel. There are a few notable features in here, like that noise you just heard. From behind the statue, you can hear this clear pounding. There's also this ladder that I could have gone up the first time we came here, but there's actually a reason to go up into the attic now, because the painter has moved up here since we first encountered her.
Thou art ash. Thou hast a pact made with Uncle Gale, so I wish to tell thee all. Behold its size. This is my canvas. It's to be a cold, dark, and very gentle place. But first, I must see flame. I wish to paint a picture of a cold, dark, and one day, that's why I must see flame. I wished of one, that's why.
Okay, so the painter? It might be a little bit difficult to notice. Let me trigger her dialogue so she turns her head. Look at her eyes, if you can see them. Her eyes are orange and slitted, like a snake's eyes. She is also scaly. She's got some snake-like features on her. Very, very curious indeed. And even from up here in the attic, you can hear that pounding that's coming from behind the statue. We're gonna go backwards just a little bit. First off, we're coming back outside near the bridge that collapses and brings you down into the depths of the painting. Because there was that one item that I missed on my descent down into the depths before. It is, I believe, the follower's saber. And I'm sure I'm gonna have a lovely time descending back down those goddamn tree branches with dudes throwing javelins and firing explosive great arrows at me. I always have such a good time on these narrow, precipitous branches. Also, considering I don't 100% remember where this item is, that'll be fun. Well, I'm dropping onto you. Come on now. Yeah! Oh, that kicks ass. I'm a big fan of the follower torch, I've gotta be honest. I think it's somewhere on the right. There they come. Might be up this branch, or it's another drop. Okay, that's fine. We can look around a little bit. I feel newly emboldened by this amazing new torch weapon. Again, I wish I had this during my my Bloodborne torch run, because this thing actually is quite a high attack rating. Of all of the weapons I'm currently carrying on me, I think it's got the second highest attack rating. You can see it does a little bit of damage. It's not entirely insignificant. It's not a bad weapon. The two biggest flaws of it are its speed and its short range. It's very slow to swing. It doesn't have the most spectacular moveset in the world either. There it is. Should be right. Goddamn. Hate that. No! Okay. No, we're cool. Oh, and it didn't even... Okay. It didn't cancel the effect of the homeward bone. So I just got up and instantly teleported. Cool, that couldn't have gone too much too much better. Great curved sword wielded by Farron followers, its great weight enables heavy-handed chain attacks. The followers brandish their swords to hunt warriors taken by the abyss. Their technique is honed to face men, implying those yet to lose their human aspect are the likeliest prey. The follower's saber actually is a pretty wild moveset with its weapon art, something that we've seen a little bit of back in that winding forest. But aside from that, I'm not that big a fan of the saber. Especially when I can walk around brandishing a torch and shit. We're gonna see the torch really come into its own down here in this room that we just ran pretty much straight through on our way to opening up the shortcut into the chapel last time. Yeah, the big man flies, the Cronenberg flies, they don't like the torch. We're gonna dual wield through here. What up? Oh, that one was dumb. Unfortunately, that didn't get multiple at once. Oh, they're all dumb. Unfortunately, they have wings, so they won't take falling damage and die. I think that was a single two-handed R2. Well, fuck this fly. We're gonna throw a javelin at it. I also got the javelin up to plus 10. I don't know how much I'm gonna get mileage out of it, but it's fun in its own right. Back to my torch friend. It swings so very slowly, but boy, is it kind of bafflingly powerful. That fly is positioned right there, staring at the wall to kind of give you a slight clue that there might be an illusory wall down there. This is one of 2 illusory walls in the DLC that I know of. And the other one is actually a little bit deeper down here. Also, I gotta say, this is the second filthiest looking and sounding place in the whole Soulsborne franchise. The first will always be the Valley of Defilement, but this is not that far behind. That grab attack really is not that bad. If you don't have some source of fire on you, they will attempt to lay maggots all over you, the kind of maggots that infest you back in the Cathedral of the Deep. And they will constantly build up your bleed, and that's the only way in which their grab attack can actually be dangerous. The only thing that they do, really, that can kind of hurt is that vomit attack. Oh, yeah, get all of them. So I want to go back to something that we learned a little while ago. The Crowquills told us about how the Corvian Knights embraced Frida and how she convinced them to oppose the fire to such an extent that they then took to executing their brethren, the more pathetic, smaller, frail Corvians we've come across. The ones that can barely fight back. Oh, we find Wilhelm's stuff here too. There was that one Corvian who asked us to show the painter a fire so she could burn away the rot. Same thing Gale wanted us to do. The Hollow Knight who served the 3 sisters who founded the Sable Church was particularly loyal to the eldest and was known as a cold-blooded hangman. This is some nice looking armor too. It's a shame that I have my fashion souls so on point with what I'm currently wearing. Yeah, blood gem down here. And we find a lever.
as ashes will be, ever seeking fire.
That lever is essential to unlocking the final boss of the DLC. So one way or another, you have to find your way down here. Whether that be through the illusory wall, or we could have also walked off the plank from earlier and made a drop down into this pit surrounded by these giant flies after having taken some falling damage. So as you can probably tell, there's one more illusory wall down here. I think I may have passed it near Wilhelm's stuff. There it is. It stands out pretty hard. Also, it's really, really easy to miss this crystal lizard. Especially if you start descending the stairs and notice that there is another one stood right in the middle of the room. And Twinkling Titanite, not too consequential right now. But we can also come outside, and there is one more pretty big secret in the DLC to uncover. It involves a lot of dropping off of vines. I hope that your vertigo is okay with another set of drops. This one isn't quite as bad because we don't have... Totally intentional. Totally intentional. We don't have anyone harassing us with arrows or javelins this time. So even though there are a lot of drops to make, and it can be kind of dangerous, you can take your time. Pyromancer's Parting Flame. This one's kind of cool. The pyromancy flame of the livid pyromancer Dunnel that attracts the echoes of death. When Dunnel lost his hideous spouse, he gave his own pyromancy flame as an offering, which transformed into a parting flame not long after Dunnel became a mad spirit, damned to wander the lands. So when you kill something with this pyromancy flame equipped, you build up death echoes, and for every, I think it's like 12 enemies you kill, if you use the weapon art on it, you restore a charge of Estus. Dunnel kicked my ass inside out that first time. Let's give this a second go. It was really, really not even close. So I've switched back to my good buddies, the Croquills. If he is like all of the other NPCs, he should only get the chance to drink 3 times, so might have to deal with that once or twice, but... Oh, I know what he was trying to cast there. He's trying to cast a new spell from the DLC called Floating Chaos. Oh, shit. That's not good. Floating Chaos is a lot like the things that the 6-armed monsters in the Demon Ruins use. It's kind of like, it's almost like a pyromancy equivalent to, that hurts bad, to homing Soul Arrow. Except with way fewer charges. And I think a slower moving projectile. There it is. 2, 3. Yeah, 3 and it dissipates. Still gotta respect it though, because I don't want to get stun locked by it. I think that Floating Chaos actually pairs really well for these kind of hybrid builds like mine. These hybrid Dex Pyro builds. Precisely because of that added stun lock effect. Ooh, Pyromancy Tunnel. Kind of tough. And once we kill Dunnel, we get Floating Chaos, which we'll take a look at. Pyromancy Dunnel was fascinated by this ceremonial art employed by the clerics of the Smoldering Lake. Summons a fire-spitting chaos orb. Chaos burns away in the blink of an eye, but was the primordial life born in the bed of chaos and a grievous symbol of Izalith's sin. I feel like there's something there, but for the most part, that description is retreading some very, very old ground. And with that done, there's really only one way left to proceed with the DLC, and that's towards the final boss. First, we are going to attune Floating Chaos, because I think it could probably be of some use. It's certainly going to be more useful than Firestorm.
Leave us be, Ashen. Thou art the Lord.
Oh, and over here you can summon Slave Knight Gale to help you out. He will only show up starting in Phase 2 of this upcoming fight.
Flickering once again. Not enough blood yet shed. My flail. Bring me my flail. Reader. What stops thine ears? Please, my flail, right away. Bring Frida to me, please. Canst thou not see the flame flickering once again? Soon will it surge. I can see it, feel it.
Fret not, Father. We have no need of thy flail. 'Tis only the flame quivering at misguided ash. Please avert thine eyes. I will snuff out these ashes for good.
It's taken a handful of attempts, but I think I can do this with the follower torch. Oh yeah, I love this dance. Damn, it's not what I wanted her to do though. She's three things she can do out of that stance. She can do that, she can run up to you in whirlwind, or she can drag the scythe along the ground, and it results in a command grab. That's the singular attack that she does that can make this phase somewhat difficult. Is when she goes invisible, she'll start charging up a command grab. There are a lot of tells though. Mainly audio cues, but there's also a visual cue in the dust cloud. For one, you can hear where she lands and you can hear her footsteps if you listen carefully. But you can also tell where she's going to be when she turns invisible if you pay attention to the cloud of dust she kicks up. That's the attack I love. Damn, yeah! You just want to track her by the cloud though. If the cloud is like one straight column or a big plume, she has jumped directly behind you. So just turn 180 degrees around and light her up. She always has to charge it for a few seconds, even if you fail to locate her. And there, she's gone to the right a little bit. Even if you fail to locate her, it's fine, because there's a really clear audio cue that plays right before she becomes visible again to attack you. And in that way, yeah, it's kind of like an Arbiter command grab. Except she has a long charge-up time, and she is not in any way invincible during it. You can also occasionally hear her, like, hitting some breakable objects in the environment. Here we go. For one, look at the glow on her. She is embered. And the partitions burned away, making the arena much bigger because we now have to fight Father Ariandel as well as Frida. And his range is enormous with that huge cauldron. So Father Ariandel and Frida share a health bar here. It's much easier to deal with Ariandel, while Frida mostly chucks these cones of frost at you. Occasionally she'll try to melee you, just focus him down. She can also heal him, which she's doing now, but really all that does is give you a break where she's not attacking you, where you can light him up without worrying about her. So I'm inclined to just let her try to heal him. And there we go. That's where things get kind of abstract, which I'll talk more about in a second. There's our second Titanite slab of the DLC, 2 out of 3. So, you didn't think we were done, did you? But that black flame, though. This is like Lady Maria with 3 health bars and the difficulty of Orphan of Kos. This third phase is where things get really real. Fortunately, I still have my +10 claws, which are amazing for this fight, because she staggers really easily, and she bleeds easily. Damn, I didn't locate her in time. That invisibility in this phase is a lot more deadly. She'll do 2 or 3 frost cones disappearing and moving around each time, So you have to keep up with her position while she's invisible, just by the visual cue. And then she ends that with that big black flame fire snake. God damn, I love this phase. It's so good. She goes ham on you. I might have to clear that off. Brought some Rhine Blue moss clumps. Sometimes it behooves you to be a little bit defensive in this. She's got such insane combo attacks that it can be really hard to just straight roll through them and get counterattacks off. Once again, the weapon art of the claws, though, really, really good here, if I can line this up right. Because if she goes in at you, she stands no chance of getting an attack off while you're flailing around. I'm not gonna find her in time, I just have to dodge this. Shit! Fantastic. Great, great final boss fight. Almost makes you inclined to forgive how otherwise insubstantial the DLC is. Holy shit. Let's check that soul out. Soul of Sister Frida. Frida was the first Ash to enter the painting, but together with the Good Father, they chose rot over fire. That is true. There's also a major oddity in the back of this room. There's this statue back here. Let me light this first. Get myself a little senzu bean. And let me get the binoculars back on, because we're going to need them in a second to scope out this really strange statue. Its lower body is that of a snake. And you can see it's rotted away, revealing the wooden linkings inside. The torso is covered in this furry, feathery garb that looks like Ariandel's body, and the head is hooded. And the hood is rotted away, revealing a human face. All I'm going to say about this is, man, there sure is some strong snake imagery in this DLC about one of the founding sisters of the Sable Church. And with that, we are going to revisit the painter up above.
Those who aren't kin to fire cannot paint a world. Those absorbed by fire must not paint a world. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten, Mother. I can hear the fire crackle, and soon I will see it. My thanks, Ashen One. I will finish the painting of a cold, dark, and very gentle place, so that it might make a home for someone someday. My thanks I will of a cold, so that it...
This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. So it seems like Ariandel saw the first flame and painted it into his world. Later, Frida came along and convinced him to quench the fire with his blood instead of letting it burn away the rot. Which makes sense because she was a founder of the Sable Church. But as we learn, she renounced the church to live in the painting. And she doesn't want to usurp the flame like Yuria. She doesn't want anyone or anything near it, choosing rot even over the fire. Speaking of which, let's talk to our Corvian friend who has moved outside.
like you. I can hear the crackling from here, the sound of my home, the painting of Ariandel burning away. When the world rots, we set it afire for the sake of the next world. It's the one thing we do right, unlike those fools on the outside. When the world, it's the...
So let's say this was Ariamus, just for the sake of argument, a home for the unwanted, afflicted by rot, decaying undead dragons, bloated, disgusting creatures. Ariandel comes and restores the painting with fire. He burns away the rot and created his own vision in its place. It sure seems like wherever fire goes, a cycle goes with it. Now, it's worth returning to Firelink real quick for a few different reasons. For starters, there is going to be some new dialogue with Yuria, now that we finished the final boss of the DLC.
Our lord and liege, 'twas the soul of my sister, Elfrida. A poor wench turned to ash, who would abandon Londor. If thou wouldst, let it nourish thy lordship, and in return do her one small kindness. Remember those who stayed by her to the end, in the shadows cast by fire. And lastly, my lord, take up thy rightful mantle of usurper.
Our lord, I prithee, when the other honorable.
Just adding a little bit of closure to this DLC that otherwise does not get a lot of closure. Now, there are two other things we can do. I think first I'm going to go and transpose the soul of Elfrida, whose name changed to Frida, by the way, if you hadn't noticed. We can get two things. We can get her great scythe wielded by Sister Elfrida, with a curved blade thinly coated by painted world frost that easily breaks the guard of shields. In the painting, the scythe is a symbol of a long-lost tome, possibly explaining Elfrida's preference for it. So the scythe as a weapon has a lot of significance. And a flail used by the bulbous father of the painted world to shred his own skin, producing blood to appease the flame, both a weapon and a miracle catalyst. Ariandel, being the restorer of the painted world, knew that it was painted with blood, and only blood could protect its secret, the Rose of Ariandel. So of course, I think you know which one I'm going to opt for, and that's the scythe, because this thing has a really dope moveset. Rather, it's got dope weapon art. Its moveset is standard, kind of fair for a scythe, which is kind of unfortunate. It looks like a paired weapon, but it only acts as like one of those twin paired weapons in its weapon art. Two-handing it's just a bog standard scythe. Nothing special on the L1, but this is the weapon art. You can either follow this with an R1 combo. Fuck yeah, that's super cool and graceful. Or you can follow it up with an R2. Which is, in its own right, kind of useful. I like that scythe, though. It's no, let's say, Gurman scythe, but not bad. And finally, we can turn in that Umbrella Ash that we got way back when.
I only hope the...
And that unlocks the, I think, the Millwood gear with the antler helmet. Also, 3 refined gems, kind of useless. And there's another set of armor that we unlocked after beating the final boss. It is the Ordained set, I want to say. Yeah, Garb of Frida, Sister of the Painted World. Hidden beneath her light blue dress are the trousers of a swordsman. An offer of protection implies the eventual wielding of a blade and spilling of blood, as Frida learned during the establishment of the Sable Church. Garb of Frida, Sister of the Painted World. A a common black hood. After renouncing everything, Frida discovered people that she wished to protect and assumed the precise form that they yearned for. So they yearned for this peaceful, scythe-wielding maiden. That's interesting, isn't it? Where's that Millwood gear? There we go. Armor worn by knights up Millwood. The charbronze breastplate and the thick black cape are adorned by the symbol of the ethereal oak. When the fabled Millwood forest was discovered, it was a vacant ruin. The only thing left was the ethereal oak stood rotting. No corpses were discovered, yet their belongings lay neatly on the ground. And nothing new for the helmet. Oh, wait, that did mention the blessed beast of the ethereal oak, which I think might be the only reference to said blessed beast. Damn. Right, so that's about it. There is something kind of small that we might as well do back in Ariandel Chapel. There might be a tiny, tiny piece of extra dialogue from the painter the second time you visit her after beating the final boss.
My thanks, Ashen One. I can almost see the flame. Soon, Uncle Gale will bring me the pigment. I wonder if he has found it. The dark soul of man.
Yeah! The dark soul of man, huh? Also, boy, is the use of pigment an intentional play on words there. But let's see, she needs blood to paint the world. She needs the dark soul to use as a pigment. And she needs to see the flame, presumably the first flame or something akin to it. What a goddamn mic drop. What a cliffhanger they chose to end that on. At least we get an idea of where DLC 2 is going, and Miyazaki's confirmed that it's going to be a lot more substantial than this one. But until then, thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one, everyone. Goddamn, I can't wait for that second DLC.